contemplate the workings of the inner being. Your eyes are wide open, but are you really seeing? And we're back, another episode of Mentor in the Mirror. We've got a nice, cozy setup here today. I'm going to be poking in and out and squeezing in and out and squeezing? Maybe not squeezing.
Squeezing in and out as opposed to sliding in and out.
Yeah. So we have our amazing, stupendous, incredible, fantastic. There aren't even enough words in the English. I can't even say English. That's how tongue-tied I am.
English language, the one and only, the fantabulous.
Krisstina Wise is here with us. Not only is she I would say master manifester, just because of what you've created with your kids, your life, your friends, your businesses, and everything in between. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is really the construct of money and kind of your story with how that's leading into what you're doing now, because it's not only inspiring, I think that it's the next level evolution of health and wealth combined for longevity and human optimization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually really epic to witness what you've done with yourself, where you've been, where you've come from, where you've gone, the hills, the valleys, all of it. It's been pretty epic to witness and to know your story.
Yeah. So let's start. In as much detail or as little detail, it's really not even that critical. And your story is pretty awesome at the same time. So if you want to even share just where you come from and your relationship to money growing up, because I think that it's amazing.
Well, thank you. And I'm happy to share. One thing that you said that I never talk about, interestingly enough, is manifestation. And I was just talking to a friend a couple weeks ago, and I don't know how this conversation came to be because I'm not big into talking about manifestation in general. But the topic came up and I said, ever since I was little, I just always believed that whatever I wanted, I could have. Whatever I desired, I could make possible. And I guess that fits maybe into a mindset or a belief system, or I don't know where it comes from, but it really is this belief of the story is like, well, if it's possible, why not go make it happen? In a way that belief system's there, I think, as opposed to something where I can't, or I'm afraid to, or who am I? And certainly some of those things are in the back there, but it's just never gotten in the way of let's go give it a try. Now with that, at the same time comes just all out heartfelt, like let's go for it. If it's possible, let's make it happen, without a lot of information many times that can then turn into some pretty big breakdowns or failures or falling flat on my face and that type of thing. But I do like the word manifestation. I just have not really associated myself to be a manifester, except that when I thought it out loud, it's like I really have manifested the exact life that I've desired for myself, combined with big failures and mistakes and breakdowns. And then in the construct or context of money, same thing. It's just that if I can conceive it, why not? And others before me have done it, so why couldn't I? Type belief system. So much in the money piece comes from the mindset, as I think we know, is that belief system. And so that was always there probably as a young age, while at the same time it was breaking the mindset, that poverty mindset or that scarcity mindset that came from starting in a trailer home, that came from an environment that was very dysfunctional and a lot of trauma and a lot of modeling that wasn't really healthy, being in those types of environments. So I don't know, there's been always this constant, on one side it was fear of abandonment and fear of being alone and fear of being inferior maybe, or that feeling of being inferior because I came from such a impoverished beginning background and a very uneducated family system. So all of that was built in, but also with this just desire and this tenacity and this resiliency of wanting to change it, those two blending together.
It's always fascinating when you dig into any entrepreneur that has created just incredible feats, whether it's through imagination of a product or a teaching or just finance in general. Most, if you look at Elon Musk's history, he was very, very abused as a child. And when we look at the way that patterns get developed, there's like this slippery slope when we become adults. I would say, especially like mid-30s to mid-40s is when I feel like the old conditioning that was driving us no longer works. Like it doesn't serve us anymore. And then we hit a wall and it's like, okay, well, that got you here. And we find all the gratitude, because that's part of the practice, right? Is to find gratitude for where you come from and the understanding that holding on to that old cosmology as the driver of the engine is problematic. And so for you, you've hit situations like that in your life. Can you describe, you shared about coming from a trailer and coming from poverty. At what point or when did you decided young, what was it that first made you decide this is how I'm going to get there? Whether it was in investment or real estate, or where was kind of your eyes set first in that process?
I think two things. One word that you said was imagination. And it was just maybe even coming from being in such a situation where it wasn't very good, that the way to escape that situation was to imagine. So I would put myself in fairy tales and to different creations where I was in a very different place. And so I think from the beginning that I just had that desire, like that ability to imagine. And so there's that's still there, that to this day, especially as entrepreneurs and visionaries, I just see futures, right? So there's still, it's a different type of imagination, but I think that piece is built in. And then for me, just from a young age too, there was just this sense of, if it needs to be different, I need to change it. Like I have to find a way. And I think that's that difference between a victim and being accountable, responsible for creating your life, as opposed to falling victim to it. And that was just the route that I chose. And then with that was, I naturally did it from a young age, but it's all these things have stayed consistent with me my entire life. Is I always sought mentors, or I always sought other parents or something that I could resonate with, like a mother figure or healthy parents or a coach. I was really close with my coaches growing up because they served that role that gave me something that seemed a little bit more secure, or someone I could trust and rely on. But that desire for mentorship has been my entire life, that I've always had coaches and mentors and those that I seek advice, or the elders, whatever the case is. So, I think blending all those pieces together has turned into maybe a master manifester, right?
Whatever it is, it's freaking magic, and I love it. And not only that, I got to sit, we came and spoke at your mastermind two weekends ago. What is the date? I don't even know where I am anymore. And to watch you in your genius in teaching people, it's not just what you've created for yourself, it's what you're creating for other people to manifest and create. Manifestation isn't just laying back and waiting for everything to come. There is still it's almost like you create the architecture and the manifestation fills the home. It's like those are the little tapestries and the rugs and all of that. But if there's nowhere to put it, all the fancy little things don't mean a whole lot. And watching you working with people and talking about wealth versus just money was so eloquently, the way that you break everything down, the way that you visualize it. And so what do you think, in working with people the way that you have, what is the most in their way, or the biggest obstacle you find with the majority of people and saving money, making money, just money in general? What have you seen as the biggest obstacle?
Well, there's two pieces. And one thing, just again, to tag on to something you said, is in the world of manifestation. And I guess when I think of what manifestation means to me, what it means is to create the vision in my head, the dream that I've created for myself. So manifestation is the actual creation of it, which means to turn it from a noun into a verb, meaning I'm the creator. So it's not like it falls in your lap. It's the dream is there, but then it's like, how do I go create the dream? How do I be Walt Disney and have this whole dream and vision of this Walt Disneyland in my head? And then how do we go build that? And then what was in my head matches, the reality of Walt Disney World, that is true, that we can all ride the rides and go through that experience, is the exact replica of what was in his head. And that's what manifestation is to me. It's like when we manifest, it's like, holy shit, I dreamed that. And here it is in some form. It maybe looks and feels a little bit different, but there it is. And then, so then that's the life is unfolding, is manifest, manifest, manifest. And then you look back and like, damn, that's really magical, because it's not, you don't really see it happening while you're in it. You just are aware of it, like once it's built in there and life is already unfolding. So there's that piece, just understanding that manifestation really is a verb when we manifest. The other part of that I would tag along is the word intention. And so, in I call it the metaphysical, physical, like the spiritual, practical, these two realms that need to coexist with one another. And with intentions, so in more the metaphysical, spiritual side, when we set intentions, like spiritually, it's really connecting with source and bringing that in and setting intentions and being with what I call Mother You and just being very intentional. But what are my intentions? What are my dreams? What are my aims? Why am I here? And just like being clear with those and setting those intentions so that they're real. They become some clarity. They can be articulated, because if it can't be articulated, then it can't happen, because there's no clarity as to what to create. It can't be nebulous. So there's the intention of setting the intention. But when you look up the definition for intention, intention means being intentional, which is to create the intention, which means to do the work to fulfill on the goal, to hit the outcome, to produce the result. So then it's like, what am I doing to create that aim, to create that objective, to create that result? So yeah,
I love hearing you talk.
It's these blends of the two worlds, as I see so many that they set intentions, but then they're like, why isn't my life manifesting? And it's like, well, because what energy are you putting into motion that's to the trajectory and the direction of the creating that aim, that direction is different than that direction, which is a different aim. So it's just understanding that these two worlds need to blend together, that we need to be dreamers and imagine and connect to source and know our purpose and just sit in just the beauty and the feeling of that, while practically, all right, now let's go do it. What are we going to do? Who am I going to do it with? How is this going to happen? And now let's really enjoy the journey of the unfolding.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was very awesome.
That was awesome.
Actually epic. And so with finance, right? There's money and then there's finance. And money is what I believe we are. We are money. The people who provide something to somebody else, their value is their money. Finance is the system that money flows through. And the way our financial systems have been designed and developed, it keeps people in particular class ranges. You have a functional range of poor people, functional range of, well, not functional, dysfunctional range of poor people, a sort of functional range of middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class, and then you have the upper echelon people. And finance has a lot of design around keeping people in their places. So when you go from the idea stage, the imagination stage, to the manifestation stage, there's courage that needs to happen. And where did you learn? And that's an embodiment. Courage is an embodiment thing. Where did you learn to have that courage?
Oh, I don't know if I learned courage. I just think I am courage. And I don't know. That was probably built in. I've just been always more of a risk taker. And I think just knowing that had to happen to break out of the system I was in. And so, and just being, let me say that I think courage came from the fact that I knew I didn't want to stay where I was. Yeah. And that the only choice to break out and see if there was something else outside of the system or construct I was in, I just had to go do it. Right. And so the courage was a byproduct of, here goes. Like, it's either staying here or taking some big risk and going to try something else.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, is a lot of times what drives us initially is the fear of if we don't change.
Yes.
So it's like, well, the fear of not changing or the fear of staying where I am is greater than the fear of what's lying ahead. It's like my worst nightmare is staying where I am. Mm-hmm. So actually it would take more bravery to stay in some kind of weird way, to stay in the comfort of the dysfunction. Because one of the most common things we see is that, especially when people do come from poverty, is there's poor and then there's a poverty mindset. Mm-hmm. And they're very different things. Mm-hmm. And it can be really challenging to break a poverty mindset. And I don't like to say, break often, but to break the habit of poverty and to not perpetuate it. And so the fact that you leaned the other direction is usually the differentiator between people that create massive success or not, or just kind of falling back. There's rarely gray in the middle. I feel like it either, like you were talking about with manifestation and intention, it either propels it this way or it propels it this way, because even the lack of intention is an intention. Yes. You know, it kind of sets you into that energetic flow like you were talking about. And so with people, with the programs that you put out, with the, I guess, the techniques and things that you've developed, what do you see as the most common mindset blocker with money?
Yeah, so if we're talking about mindset, there's a lot of blocks there. And one thing I want to say to what you said as well is that one thing why I do love to talk about money and tell my story is that I like to at least share, like, here's my story. This is where I've started. I've lost everything 3 times, and here goes again. And through all the big 2x4s and dark periods and hero journeys, and through all of that, it's just coming out the other side better and stronger, more connected, more filled with love and hope and energy every time. So I share those stories because I really do believe this to be true. I know it's said quite often, but if I've been able to do what I've been able to do, everybody can. With the traumas and the different life situations I've been through, it's like, I'm still here. Like, if I can serve as an inspiration or hope for anyone coming from any background, I'd like to be that. And again, that got me through so many tough times is those mentors or those people that I look to that could be my example. I say, they've done it, I can too. And it's just understanding that we get, so to answer your question, these truths get stuck in our heads. What beliefs are what we believe to be true. Now, just because we believe to be something to be true doesn't mean it's true. Right. So when we believe these things to be true, what I call truths, they're our truths, even though they're not the truth or a truth necessarily. So when we have this truth on our mind that says, I can't do that, then that's going to be the truth. Or that my situation is I can't get out of it, that becomes a truth. So when it comes to money and money mindset, well, when it comes to money, there's these 2 parts of money that are really important. One is the mindset piece, and mindset is the belief structure. And so a way to check in with that is that when we're talking about money, listen to the words you say, because every action that we take, like, so the results, the outcomes of our life, if they're dissatisfactory in any category of life, then we have to look backwards. So what we tend to do is like, my life isn't working out, so let me look out there somewhere to see if out there is the solve to my problem. If it's in business, the right product or program, or another job, yeah. Or it's something out there. So we're on the search of out there to go find something or fix something out there. When actually the answer is not out there, it's back here. So it's going backwards to say, okay, whatever outcome that I'm producing from my life or result or situation or experience I'm in that I don't like, it's like, let me go back and see what's the source, that's the ripple effect or domino effect that's created the situation I'm in, because everything's cause effect. So if I go back, everything is attached to the way we think. And so the way we think dictates how we're going to behave. And then, but how we think is what we believe that forms our thoughts. So that when and then our words that we use are actually representative of the way we think. So listen just to the words we use ourselves, or listen to other words and phrases people use. But when it comes to money, when I hear people, when I do these 30-minute coaching calls, these money coaching calls, within 2 minutes, I know their money mindset. Because I can hear things like, I'm not good with money. I'm not good with math. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid of money. Money falls through my fingers. I'm not good at business. I can't earn more than a certain amount of money. But you just listen to these phrases and it's like, there's the mindset. And that's the trap. So the first part when it comes to money is we have to, if we're not satisfied, we're not making enough, we don't have enough, that type of thing, then it's looking back and really diagnosing the diagnostic work of, what do I really believe about money? And you can go farther back and look at what were your parents' models, like what did they say, and what were the experiences, or what did we witness? So we can go back and do that work if we want to find out where it comes from. But really, it's just a matter of changing the words and replacing any scarce mindset or words or beliefs, and replace them with something powerful, like I'm great with money. Everybody can be great with money. So, but just say, I'm great with money. And money, I just manifest money. Money flows to me. I love money. Money and I are best friends. Man, I just dig the fuck out of my money. So when we can change and replace the words, like automatically, that's going to change a whole different energy, vibration, belief system, which then is going to propel us to take different actions with our money, to want to spend more time with it. So it changed the behaviors. The belief changes the behaviors. So that's the first part, is a diagnostic, is just start listening to yourself and the words that you use, or the words that you use between each other, with friends, that type of thing. Listen to what your friends are saying. Ask your friends to catch you out. And for myself, I mean, I catch myself, and even with my kids, I noticed I would say things like, I can't afford it. And the truth of the matter is I could, but in my head, I couldn't. I was just choosing not to spend money on that so I could spend money on something else that was a priority. So I was just, this is always a journey, but I thought, man, I kept that one for a long time. And I really had to break this belief of like, I can't afford it. No matter how much money I make, I'd still catch myself saying, oh, I can't afford that. Or whatever that is. It's like, stop that, Krisstina. Like, no, that's a ceiling. So that's the first piece, is a mindset piece. And there's always some cleanup and some work. And it's a journey. The second piece is that, and that's in the mind, right? So you guys are way into the body. So that's the whole belief system, the psychology and the mind, the way we think, the way we believe, our stories, our narratives. And that's all in this mind. Like that little voice is always talking to us in the back of our head. So that's that piece. Now, the second piece to money is skill. And what skill really is skill is the embodiment of what we know. So when we are skilled at drinking, I don't think before I drink.
Right.
My body knows what to do because I've been doing it for 50 years, right? Mm-hmm. And we didn't come out of the womb, just could pick up a bottle of water and drink. We forget about that. So when things are so natural, like taking a sip of water, brushing our teeth, sitting down, doing a somersault, you name it, that's embodied knowledge. Like it's learned behavior that over many times the practice, then we just get it to do it where we don't think about it. And that's what true skill is. Skill is embodied knowledge that's pre-thought. And when our body knows how to behave, that's true mastery, that's true skill. And there's always a beginner level of anything we want to learn, and then a more mastery or advanced, and that's a journey to get there. But money, what people don't understand, it's applied knowledge. Yeah. Money is practical, it's real, it's a domain of knowledge. It's something to do that's based on philosophy and principles and laws and mechanics. And so if we don't understand those and how money operates and how to skillfully change, move, and grow our income and turn it into wealth, that requires knowledge of how to do it. We can have the most abundant mindset in the world, but that's not going to get us towards wealth. Right. So it's really this blend that it's really hard to build wealth if you've got this scarcity or this I can't do it mindset that limits incomes or sabotages incomes, or can make income or can make money or that type of thing, but don't have the skill to really grow it and build it, to be able to use it as a tool for freedom and the great things that we can do in the world.
I love that you just differentiated that, because, I mean, for us, we did all the work around mind is with regard to money. And then as we were sitting in your mastermind, we were like, we don't have the skill set of money. That is what we can manifest, and we get a lot of referrals and clients and all of that stuff is not a problem. And then we'll look and we're like, where'd all the money go?
Where's the money?
Yeah, where is it?
Did you see it? I don't even know.
Money evaporates. It's the most. Money is one of the most magical things. Like I teach this thing called money magic, and that it's magical because again we have this belief that money's something we need to chase. Again, it's out there somewhere, so we need to go chase it. It's like, no, money's not out there. There is no tree of money. Money's here. And it is the manifestation, is the creation. Like money, we create money out of nothing. Money just was an idea, and then it's a product, and now we're selling something, and here in comes the money. That was just an idea that somehow came through this body and this mind, and like, where did that come from? It was just nothing. And then now it's a product that's sitting on a table somewhere. So that's money magic. And so there's the magic of making money, but there's the magic of it vanishing. If we don't know how to move it and how to work it in a way, it disappears just as magically as it lands in our bank account. I mean, seriously.
Yes.
So is there I'm like we're all saying here, I'm big into body, and there's a feeling to everything. If I'm teaching somebody how to do pull-ups, there's a feeling to your musculature when you do a pull-up. And a person who doesn't know what that feeling is, I can guide them and tell them what my perspective of a feeling is for a pull-up. So you have to grab the bar, you'll feel the bar in your fingers, then you tighten your fingers, you go into your forearms, and then it's like you're pulling the bar apart, and then you collapse your shoulder blades together, right? That's the start of the sensations that you get when you do a pull-up. So I can explain that to somebody until they find, I don't get it. Get on the bar, do the fingers first, and I run them through it so that they can actually get into the sensation of it. And I know there's an embodiment and there's a feeling to wealth. There's a feeling to it. For somebody who doesn't know what that feeling feels like, what would you suggest to them to do as far as getting in the feel of wealth?
Yeah, I love that question.
Thank you.
You're right that there's one, you have to get a healthy relationship with your money, because that automatic response, like again, pre-thought reaction when the word money or wealth or income, like that's another checkpoint. So there's one, to listen to the words or phrases. Another checkpoint is, what is that visceral reaction when word like money, wealth, rich, just throw in any word. And that visceral reaction is going to tell a big story. Like, oh, if that's a negative pre-thought feeling, there's work we need to clean up there. There's something in there that has to be cleaned up. So people automatically feel in their body, like they'll just like shrink or move back from when money's talked about. And it's the same behavior with their own money when they're afraid of it, or they have some negative story about it. Then behaviorally, they don't want to look at their money. They want to put it off. They want to stick their head in the sand. They just want to most of whom I work with, they're high income people, business owners, entrepreneurs. And their belief system is, I just want to go make a lot of money so I don't have to worry about my money.
Right.
And it doesn't work that way. So meaning if we want to keep it at bay, it's going to stay at bay. It's going to disappear no matter how much money we make. That's just universal operations. So it's that the visceral the feeling of it, of how we react and how we feel. Is it a very positive, uplifting? Wow, let's talk about money. Like when anybody says, let's talk about money, I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's talk about it. Like I just get all happy and, and that type of thing. So that's the type of mood, and there's the feeling it brings. And then jumping up and down, like that's a body's reaction to like, bring it. This is a really fun conversation, as opposed to moving away or shrinking or disappearing.
It's a shame,
type of thing. So that's the body automatically reacting to these feelings about it. That's very easy to like test ourselves.
Yeah, it's a habit. Yeah, it's a built-in neurological habit, and this is part of what Cole and I work with people on, is these neurological habits. And it's not just a psychological thing; it's an actual physical thing that's built into the brain. And as a kid, my parents would always say, "Oh, we don't have enough money for that. We don't have money. We don't have money.
Can't afford it."
So anytime I saw something that was nice, I would kind of get, and I can remember the feelings right now of whenever I saw something nice, forget about it. It was the forget about it feeling. And there's just this horrible feeling that I would get. And there was one time when my father called me into the room. I think I was about 16. My father called, he said, "Come in the room, come here." And he pulled out this knot, and he opened my hand and he put it in my hand. And he said, "Close your hand." And I was like, "Is this for me?" He said, "No, but I want you to know what $1,000 feels like in your hand." And I sat there, and he said, "What could you do with $1,000? And I got this excited feeling, like my whole body. I thought about all the things that I was ever told that I'd never be able to have, and that drove me into a place where I wanted to feel like that all the time. And then over time, after that day, they kind of faded back, and it was back into that same neurological place. Wherever anybody said anything about a lot of money, I would shrink to it. It was an actual physical situation. Did you ever have that?
I had some of that, and it was a belief system that if somebody else has done it before me, I can go do it. So, but that was certainly, I think mine was a lot of the do I deserve it? Do I deserve it? Do I deserve it? Type of thing that I had to get over, as far as, yeah, I could go get it, but do I deserve it? And that was a lot of my story, and having to get over that. And mine was that, and inferiority complex, is that always feeling inferior, again, because I was moving in crowds that came from lots of money, lots of education, nice vocabularies, experiences that I didn't even know existed. So it took me a long time to travel in these different circles that really, again, continued to pull me out of the situation I was in. But I always felt like I'm not as good as they are, or I'm less than, or I'm afraid to maybe say something because I might embarrass myself by using poor grammar or something. So for me, I think that was a big part of that was part of the narrative. And then the unhealthy side to that is I thought money would fix it. So I thought the more money I had, or the more status I had, or the more stuff I had, then I could be accepted in these different groups. So then it became this attainment or desire to have money to try to fill the hole of being inferior. So that's where I had to do the work, is like, oh, money is not connected to my self-worth in that way.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that we shame as humans, like we shame ourselves and each other for. It's like, what's your credit score? Can you afford something or go to a certain school? Because we say, oh, well, no, money doesn't define who you are and your value. And yet we work in a system that measures us by metrics uses metrics that are quantifiable by money, or at least by, say, with a credit score. I have girlfriends that won't date someone with a low credit score. And to me, that was such a fascinating conversation to have, because for me, I never found that made someone credible or not. That just showed their education with money. And we don't get one. I know very few people that have the knowledge like you teach with your programs, of the knowledge necessary to create wealth. And you said something really potent that stuck out to me at the mastermind about income will not get you to wealth. It doesn't matter how little you make or how much you make. You can still reach wealth with a quote unquote lower income. And that I have friends that are making, 7 figures that still do not have wealth.
Yeah. And there's a myth that says the answer to all my money problems is to make more money. So that just creates the grind, that creates the churn. No matter where we get, it's not enough. And so then we reach the next echelon of income. We get there, still not enough. So there's these universal operational reasons why that's to be the case, like Parkinson's law of money, for example. But still, it's just the myth is the answer to all my money problems is to make more money. And it's not. More money can just mean more problems if we don't have a great relationship with money, and we don't understand the game of money is to build wealth for the sake of freedom, for the sake of being able to use our time in a way that allows us to serve and to be in our purpose.
And not just because P. Diddy said it.
So you mentioned Money Magic. That's a program that you have. What is the A point to the A to B point with that? The person comes to you and they have this issue, and what does Money Magic get you at the end of it when you're done with Money Magic?
Yeah, Money Magic is really a mindset tool to understand. One is that money's not out there, that we create it based on our imagination. We create it based on our dreams. We create it based on our desires and the work that we want to do in the world. A lot of that has to do with, you guys say the same thing, is that, especially like embodiment, is that so much of what we like, the way, like the financial construct, as you said, is that you go to work, you get a job, and you get paid. And so you go to college, out of college, you get your degree, you get a job, and then you get paid, and that's what you do. And then you spend your money. That's the model. And then you spend all your money, and then you're doing that for all this time. Now, when we can reframe that and understand that, yeah, that is one way, that's what we all have seen and been taught. But when we can bring it inside, and that, again, money's not about a job that we get paid to do. It can be, But when money can be who we are, like what you were saying, then money is me, in the sense that, and I'm magic. And so the money magic I want to create is from the inside out. And again, it's this belief system of abundance, that there's just plenty. There's abundance everywhere when it comes to me and money. And so if I can just grow into the flow and source and be a creator, an actor, then and offer value in a way of me being me through what I offer, then that the exchange with that is what people pay me for the value that I offer, that I am in the world. And so that way, when it's all about who I am and what I'm being and what I'm becoming and my skill set and it's just all a matter of being. So I can't not be me, in the sense of the way I teach money, for example, is me. It's how I approach money. It's the way I think. It's my embodiment of it. It's my feelings about it. It's my energy. It's just the way, so I can talk about it in my sleep, or you can give it to me forwards and backwards, and it's always going to be there because it's just who I am. So you can't shut me up when it comes to money, because it's just part of me. So, and what you all offer is part of you. Like, I mean, listening to you teach when you're in your genius, it's just who you are, and the way you teach it and offer it, it's who you both are. It's not a job that you're doing, that you're getting paid for. It's like, let me go to the job and do these things to get a paycheck. You're just showing up being you every day.
Yeah. It's all day, every
day, right? And that's what you're helping others, is like, just be you, and let's get through these traumas, or these constructs or different things that's keeping you from being you, where it's keeping you from living and being your truth, is all this construct that we're brought up in and attached to. So that's the same thing. Like the money magic is like, it's just being in the magic as a creator, as an imaginer, creator, manifester, and then be what we do. And then I get better at doing, as better I get at being.
That's epic. How long is that whole program that you do?
Oh, my money magic program is 8 weeks. And so it's an 8 week skill based. It's the combination of, let's work on your mindset. We need to go back and clean this stuff up. And then what is the skill set that I need to learn to be able to magically turn my income into wealth?
Yeah, one of the many awesome
we were in the back of the room, just like, yep, right here. That's us. But it's also removing that shame stigma that we've been programmed into as well, that we also have around sexuality, that we also have around relationships. That the more that we have these discussions, it's like we're coming out of the money closet, and it's to have someone that you create a safe space for people to bring their skeletons, their financial skeletons, out of the closet. And once you air it out, you realize, like, oh, wait, no, this is everyone. Like 98% of the planet, or we'll say at least in the United States, has a seriously mind deficit relationship with money, and a literal deficit in how they live versus what they're bringing in. And for us, even to sometimes you wait for permission, like, coming to your thing was the permission. We've been talking about getting our finances all together, and you finally came along like, you can get your finances together. We're like, well, thank you. Because apparently we were waiting for someone to give us permission to do it. And how much of creating wealth, and obviously you have a huge element of health with your life, not only because of your own story, but when it comes to human optimization, without body, nothing else matters. And I feel like everybody knows that intellectually, but once you experience it, it's a whole other thing. So how much is like self-care and self-help for you required for wealth building?
Well, that was a great big lesson for me, because I didn't know that, and living an unsustainable lifestyle that was all geared towards money and wealth and achievement. My lifestyle brought me to a situation where I lost my health. So I really traded my health for wealth. And in the creation, now create a lot of money, but I found myself in a situation where my body was like, I'm done. You've just been abusing me, using me, not being grateful, and I've been giving you warning signs, and game over. And so it was a very close, almost all the way game over for me. And that was this big awakening of like, oh, without my body, I could have all the money in the world, and all the money in the world doesn't matter. And I didn't care about my Range Rover. I didn't care about my big house. I didn't care about my bank accounts. I didn't care about my businesses. I didn't care about any of the stuff. I didn't care about any of my accolades or achievements. All I was left with was wanting my health back, and I pretty much paid my last dollar to get my health back. Now, granted, I was lucky I had it. So the fact that I had money and it saved my life, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't have the money that it took for me to save my life, cash, and selling some assets and having that. But I wiped out my life financially, get my health back. That had I just taken care of it in the first place and been grateful, I wouldn't have had to start over financially, right? Again. So there was that lesson, but there's also that the money's just a tool. It just underwrites the cost of living a good life. And I realized I was after the money for money's sake. I wasn't after life for life's sake, but the money was just the tool used to pay for these products and services, allowed me to live the life
experiences
and have the experiences. So I had all this regret and shame that I didn't live, that I didn't spend more time with my children, that I was always after the chase, that I was never satisfied, that I didn't take care of my health, that I didn't take time to just hang with friends and have a conversation, because wherever I wasn't ever present. I was always in my head future tripping to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So that was a great big awakening. And so then in financial terms, it was, oh, well, I teach assets. And what an asset is, for my definition, it's something that creates money. So if we own a house and it doesn't create money for us, that's not a real asset. So an asset means it puts money in our bank account one way or another. So is there any more important asset than our body?
No.
Nope.
Like when my body, not only did I have to use all my money to get my health back, but my entire income deteriorated. I mean, my business partners were trying to steal my business while I was sick, and my income was going down. And I mean, so when I was out of the game, my entire income engine was completely breaking down and falling apart. And my save and investing engine was completely being deconstructed to pay for everything. So from just a financial sense, the fact that I didn't take care of my body and love myself and do those things and understand what the money's for. The money is to be healthy and to live a really healthy, fulfilling, loving life with really amazing people in it. And the money just serves that. It's not about the chase to get more money, thinking that then the downstream from that is better relationships or something.
So it sounds like you had a huge lesson in biointegration, right? Seriously, because the money, you didn't lose it. And you did say you lost the money. You integrated that money into your body, and now
That's good.
I like that.
I like that.
You integrated that.
Give me a little five. Give me a little five for that. That was great.
You integrated the money into your body, and now you are able to let it flow back out. Right? It flows back out, and then you create another cycle of it. It's just like food. If your food is on the plate, it's not integrated into your body yet. You have to chew it up, you have to break it up, disintegrate it, and then integrate it into your body.
That's so good.
Yeah,
right?
that's so good.
The same
this
thing
is
with,
why I married you.
So the same,
yes.
So it's the same
Just
thing.
that one
it's the
thing
same
I'm
thing with
done.
your money. And you know, I have to say that I had the weekend that we spent with you, I got a tremendous amount of value because I sat there and I watched you embody money and the passion that you had with which you spoke to people. It was magical. It was almost like a spell that you cast on people with your very pure-hearted integration with money and how I've never seen it in anybody before. I've met a lot of people that have dealt with a lot of money, and there's always this kind of hand-wrenching, and you're like, come get this shit, it's here for everybody, let me show you, and so I felt this in my body, and I'm like, I can actually embody the same, a very similar space to that. So I thank you, and if I can lend any kind of perspective to you, girl, you got it. And so that integration disintegration thing is the breath of the universe for me. When we exhale carbon dioxide and waste products and water into the air, and when we breathe in, we take in oxygen and whatever is happening in the atmosphere, and we integrate it into the body and we push it back out. And so money is the same thing. You breathe it in, you breathe it out. You have that resource that you've created, and it was stockpiled over here, and as your health started to disintegrate, you started to integrate the money to get your body back into that place of
That's
stasis.
really beautiful.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm going to use that too.
So thank you for sharing your experience with that with us, and for broadening my perspective, because this is something that I can take and help the people that I work with, because a lot of the work that Cole and I do with people, has a lot to do with money and finance and their relationship to their jobs, their relationships to their careers, and how that intermingles with their family life. So to be able to have all this stuff become more cohesive for me is a tremendous gift. So thank you. And you know, this is part of the mirror work with people. You know, it's always about that mentor in the mirror. Can you look in the mirror and say, I need some perspective from a mentor or a teacher or whoever.
That they are the mirror. They're reflecting something that you desire, something that you want.
Yeah.
And that's how we first see ourselves, is through other people, I feel like. Like if they have qualities or a life that looks appealing to me, then by me first looking at the reflection, then it's, can I create that? And then when you finally face yourself in the mirror, you realize that you are the reflection of every mentor, every friend, every trauma, every wounding, and it's magnificent. And this your mastermind was the realization that we had mastered creativity, abundance, and fun in every way of our life except money. And I hadn't considered, I had still separated that from the rest. That was still separate from the fun. That was still, I could do fun things with it. The acquiring money was even fun at times, but the money itself was like, well, you know, it was almost like I was picking it up like it was something that was like stinky old gym sock or something. Like, I guess I'll put this over here.
Yeah, and just it's really, so even at the mastermind, you know, to do the love story or to write a story to money. And I really love people to do that exercise because, and just be truthful. It's write a story to money, like write a letter to money like it were a lover or an ex-lover or whatever the case is, and just be truthful. And it's like, money, you're never there when I need you, and why do you abandon me, and why are you so hard, and you know, just whatever that is, and just get it out. And it's very cathartic exercise to just see what's been trapped in our bodies with this belief about money, that when we can release that, like with any trauma release in a way, just get it out of the body and just like if you're angry, just like write it out and just tell money off if that's what you need to, and then get it out, and then to rewrite the story. And like, now that's out. Now,
I wrote a love story to mine.
Yeah,
it
now
was
it's
epic.
like, yeah, now like now I can rewrite it. And how does it feel if it's a real love story? So get all the truth out first and then rewrite the story.
I love it. I mean, everything that you said, sorry, baby, didn't mean to cut you off there. Everything as you explained it, I was like, if we knew about money, this is how we would say it. We just didn't know any of this. And it's that reflective perspective that's why this relationship is so magical for us, is our language is so similar, but it's from different sides of the same thing, kind of, right? If we're looking at a snow globe, we all kind of have a different perspective of the same kind of centerpiece. And I had an incredible time just spending it with you. And
you guys were magical, just like so
fun.
Soaking it in.
We were super fans. Like, next time I'm going to take one of those the big pointed fingers, and I'm just going to like sit in the front row with those big foam fingers.
So it's awesome having you here with us, and we are about helping people craft what we call a life team, a team of people who can help them craft their lives the way they want, be that a doctor, a physician, a massage therapist, a rolfer, a money expert, whatever. And so we love to help people craft their life team. And we would love to hear about, to share with people about the retreat that we went to, the mastermind that we went to, the next one that you have available, and what else you have available for people to consume.
Yeah, what I encourage anyone to that's not done money work and hasn't really done the work to clean up their mindset, look at their relationship with money, and learn the most fundamental skill set, that money is a life skill. And so that hasn't developed the life skill of money yet, then I have an 8-week coaching program that is all about what I call money school, which over the 8 weeks, it's like an 8-week night school on money. And you're going through and you do homework and you're learning and really getting the fundamentals of money, like this real money foundation, that once you have that money foundation, you can build any house on top of it. But most of us don't have the foundation. No foundation, no house. So this is the foundational money course that allows us to learn everything we have to know about money if we're not going to sabotage. The other piece to that is, during that 8 weeks, you set what your financial goals are based on your own dreams and ambitions. And what are the goals? You look at your current situation, you determine your gaps for where you are to where you want to be. You calculate. It's really great for variable income and business owners because it's designed for those that don't have a consistent paycheck. But then you build your financial system, because I call it the dash. And the dash is that there's these 4 things, these 4 parts that have to be in place to have real success. And so if we're going to create success, what is success? Well, success means that we've hit some marker that we've pre-established. So in the dash, I call it the destination. So what is the money dream or destination? What is the number? Like I call it know your number. What is this number? This is a financial freedom number or a lifestyle number, whatever that number is, that's like the money destination, some point in the map that we're putting out there that's going to set the direction, set the direct trajectory, take us on a certain course. So that's the dash. And then the A is about an atlas. And so now we need to map. So even though if I know, like I set a destination that I want to go to London, if I'm not relying on somebody else, how the hell am I going to get there? And a specific address in London, whatever street in the middle of London somewhere. So with that, even though I've set the destination, if I don't have a map or a model, I'm not getting there. So we have to have models or maps or blueprints, something. If we build a house, I can have a dream of a house, but if I don't have a blueprint, there's not going to be any house. So that's the second piece. We need a map, and that's what you're doing. And I have my own map, my own money map and model that people can follow that's income to wealth. So, but that's a mapping system. It's like the GPS of money. Then the S is systems and tools. And so now, even though I've set a destination to go to a very specific location in London on a street, and I have my atlas to get there, now how am I going to get there? I got the map, but am I riding a bicycle? Is that the tool? Am I going on a plane? Am I going on a boat? What are the systems and tools that an airplane is a system, for example. What are the systems and tools that I'm going to use to be able to get to that destination by following the model? So if I have a dream to build a 4,200 square foot house on a certain lot in Austin, Texas, that has 4 bedrooms and 2 baths and a study, and that's the dream. That's the dream because that's the lifestyle, because that's how I want to live in the house. Now I need the blueprint. Now I need the tools, the hammers, the nails, and all the tools to be able to follow the blueprint. So we have to have system and tools. And if you don't have system and tools and your money's disorganized, you're not going to build wealth. So that's another thing that you do in this program is you have your tools and you have your system. And then the H is for habits. And that if we want to turn something and become a master of something, then it's embodied knowledge, which becomes habitual. So all those things are during this 8-week program, is that we set the destination. What are your financial goals and dreams that you want to move towards? We look at the money blueprint that I call the millionaire formula, which is the code, the algorithm to get to your first $1 million of net worth. And then once you hit your first million, then you can just determine how many X factors you want to go from there because you've proven it. And then I have a financial system that you just upload, done for you type system. And then we talk about the habits and practices to turn this into a lifestyle. So that's what I offer.
I think that's what's so amazing about it is it's the walking through the process of setting up a structure. It's not just, hey, here you go, here's what I did, follow these step by step. It is talking about some of the mindset things. It is having, calls so that you can, if you have questions or you're just struggling emotionally or whatever, it's like you have more support because it's a money thing and it's not a money thing. Mm-hmm. What we struggle with, if there's not money, it has nothing to do with the money. It has to do with what not having money represents for us and the judgments associated to it.
So how can people find you?
How they can find me?
Yes. Tell people how they can find you and what they need to do to sign up for your stuff and get all the goods going, social media, all the wonderful.
Well, it's very easy.
stuff.
What I like to do is just based on where anybody is do like a 30-minute consult just to do a check-in and see if I think I can offer help. And that's Krisstina.com/call. KRISSTINA.com/call. But then also just let me know that you came through Ton Cole and we'll do something really special.
And we're going to put all the links in
the show notes.
In the show notes.
Keep it nice and simple.
Yeah, and we're going to be spreading this on Facebook, Instagram, the lot. Yeah, because we want the world to know about you, our world. So, and we're looking to expand that world rapidly and dramatically.
Well, I just believe the world will be a much better place if we all got great with our money,
yes.
right? And just with the servant attitudes and leadership and just be in our power to do great work, heart-centered with integrity and consciousness and money, the whole world could shift.
Yeah.
And it already is. As we've been saying, there's a new wave of human evolution now. And either people are going to be riding on top of the wave or in the undertow, but we're all going to this next evolution. And we're so excited to be with you, to be in Austin.
And I love being with you guys.
Yeah, it's mutual. And you're inspiring. You're amazing. I adore you. I'm so grateful to have you in our lives. And I can't wait to see the magic that this program brings because I can already see it.
Well, I just have to say, like my most recent evolution of my work, I have to say thankful to the two of you because the work that I did with you helped me break through some of my own ceilings and limitations that I needed to clean up for this big new awakening for me, even with this next phase of money, magic, and creation. So I'm so grateful to the two of you.
And it's such an honor to be a part of your process. And so with that, before we wrap it up, I'd like to ask you if you have 3 things that you could tell people that they can do as a mentor in their own mirror to say to themselves on a daily basis as far as money is concerned.
Well, the first thing is I am lovable. And once we know we're lovable, we can love our money, and our money can be a reflection of the great work that we do in the world. So in the mirror, it's just I love myself and I love money would be a big thing. I would say just the mentorship is that whoever is a model or a guide, go seek them out. If it's me, I don't resonate with everyone. If it's me, I can resonate. Like, yeah, I can be a mentor. I can be a model. That's what I love to do. But if not, there's lots of other mentors and people out there that are really good at this. And so, yeah, like I love money and I have a money mentor. And then it's just understanding too that money is an embodied practice. And so to look at in the mirror, I guess if we look at ourselves, what are my behaviors with my money? And what can I do to change and shift those behaviors to produce more of the outcomes that I want?
Awesome.
Love it.
Thank you so much.
I love you guys.
So much. Love you, girl.
Yeah, so for anyone, if you're listening, if you're watching, it's mentorinthemirrorpodcast.com if you want to check out past episodes. All of the info will be in the show notes. Don't forget, if you thought this episode was amazing, which I know you did, leave a comment for us, for Krisstina in iTunes. Like, let's actualize this, and we can't wait for you to get the creativity and abundance of your money together, because we know if the money is going to be out in somebody's hands, amazing, beautiful things will happen if it's in yours. So let's get it in as many magical hands as possible. Absolutely. To really start to transmute all of the other stuff going on.
And definitely. And don't forget to rate, subscribe, share.
Tag a friend.
Do
the hokey pokey.
Turn your punkers around. And we shall see you again soon at Mentor in the Mirror. Be free. And contemplate the workings of the end to be it. Your eyes are wide open, but all you really see is if you cut us, do we not bleed? If you take from us, do we not need? If you cut the